Gaza in 2024. Since the Hamas terrorist attack on Israel on October the 7th, the Gaza Strip has been under Israeli attack, from the air and on the ground.
You're only thinking about two things. One, bring back the hostages. Two is eliminate Hamas. Get rid of them.
Tens of thousands of civilians have died.
I lost 20 my family members. To this moment, my family is still under Hyderabad.
Half of Gaza's buildings have been destroyed. Almost 2 million people have been displaced.
There's no time for grieving. The luxury of grieving is not an option.
Yet Hamas remains intact and fights back from a vast network of tunnels below the ground.
لأنه فوق الأرض هو ويسيطر، أما تحت الأرض لا يستطيع أن يفعل شيئا، لذلك حفرنا الأنفاق.
These are the accounts of people who live under the shadow of October the 7th. Gaza on the 7th of October, 2023. Thousands of Gazans celebrate only hours after the Hamas terrorist organization launched its audacious and murderous attack on Israel. For Hamas's leadership, it's a huge success. Israel is in complete shock. 1,200 people are dead. 250 have been taken hostage and are incarcerated somewhere deep inside Gaza. It's a major humiliation for Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's controversial right-wing prime minister, who promised security to the electorate. He is determined to deliver the utmost punishment to Hamas and its supporters.
אנחנו במלחמה ואנחנו ננצח בה.
Events are closely watched across the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia, the guardian of Mecca, Islam's holiest site. By coincidence, a family of Gazans is on a visit here. Sharouk Al-Aila and her husband Roshdi are freelance journalists. They're here with their little daughter, Dania.
كانت مفروض تكون رحلة رائعة صراحة، وخططنا لها في رحلة كان المفروض أنها تستمر شهر ونص. بكير الصبح زوجي رشدي كان بقول لي قومي، يعني كان عم يصحيني بقول لي قومي اصحي شوفي شو بصير بغزة.
The news covers only one story: the Hamas attack on Israel.
كان بقول لي هاي يعني رح تيجي وراها حرب طويلة، فلازم نلحق نروح على غزة.
The Hamas massacre reverberates around the world. In New York City, 33-year-old Israeli army reservist and tech graduate Noy Lieb is out celebrating a Jewish holiday.
I'm walking back on Friday night at around midnight, and I get this text message saying that something's going on in Israel. There's some terrorists who have infiltrated into Israel. I'm like, it's fine, you know, we've dealt with this before. But, you know, an hour later, I see that it's more serious, and I'm calling my dad, who's in Israel, and I say, you know, Dad, I'm coming to Israel, there's going to be a war.
One of almost 500,000 Israeli reservists, Noy gets on a plane and heads back to Israel. Noy reports to his unit and prepares for action. For almost 2 decades, Israel has operated on the principle that any location used to attack Israel should be flattened in response. 2 days after the Hamas attack, Israel's defense minister, Yoav Gallant, spells out what lies ahead for Gaza.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
The same day, Shruk and her husband Roshdi travel through Egypt towards Gaza, which had recently experienced an economic upturn.
يعني خصوصاً آخر فترة في قطاع غزة كان في ازدهار اقتصادي واضح. كان في كتير محلات، كتير مشاريع صغيرة خاصة عم تطلع على السطح. غزة جداً بسيطة، سهلة للمعيشة، سهلة تقدر تمشي. ما في شيء بيسوى، ما في شيء بيعادل بحر قطاع غزة.
But the territory has one major drawback. Since 2006, the Gaza Strip has been run by Hamas, a terrorist organization that is dedicated to the destruction of Israel. Because of Hamas, the borders to Israel remain closed. The only access point to Gaza is in the south and controlled jointly by Egypt and Israel.
دحر الاحتلال بالكامل وإنهاء الكيان الصهيوني وإقامة دولتنا الفلسطينية المستقلة وعاصمتها القدس على كامل أرضنا فلسطين. هاي قناعات حماس.
Listen to the Iranians the way they speak. It's about the creation of Palestine. It's about the destruction of Israel. So as long
One
as
person who is well aware of Hamas's intentions is Boaz Bismuth, Israeli MP and a close ally of Prime Minister Netanyahu.
The problem is not only Hamas, everybody is watching in the region. Now, we have two options: Israel winning and staying Israel, a strong country, Israel not winning, then it's losing and then becoming another country.
Within hours of the Hamas attack, Israel starts to bombard Gaza. It targets suspected Hamas strongholds across the territory. In the north of Gaza, the Sheikh Zayed township is located 1 kilometer from the Israeli border. According to the Israeli army, this up-and-coming neighborhood is home to senior Hamas commanders and military storage facilities. Hala Shihada, mother of 10-year-old daughter Tulin, has lived in this neighborhood for the last 18 years. On the 14th of October, Hala's cherished home is hit by an Israeli missile.
كان لما هربنا كان في مجزرة وطلعنا نجري في الشارع، اكتشفت ان انا نسيت امي. كنت خايفة ارجع اجيب بنت امي لانه بنتي معي والقصف يعني كتير كان شديد. كان في جيراننا جابوها، ماسكها كان الشاب. كان في بنزين، فالبنزين كب على امي، كله نزل على امي وعواعيها، فكانت امي جياني وصرنا نمشي في الشارع، بدي بس ابعدها عن القصف عشان ما يجيش فضية عليها وهي البنزين في أواعيها وإنه أنا أفقد أمي. فهذا كان أكثر موقف أنا بحبش أتذكره حتى، يعني هذا من الشغلات اللي صعبة.
Hala returns to the flat a few days later.
إيش تريد؟ إيش؟ مش أنا حكيت لك يا ماما أنها انقصفت؟ معلش نعمل أحلى منها يا توتا.
شوفي مش كيف ماشي.
تولين. مش احنا اتفقنا حنعمل واحدة أحلى منها؟ لفي علي أشوفك، مش حكينا حنعمل واحدة أحلى منها؟
من وين حنجيب الكلام نفسه بالصبح؟
أحلى منه بدي أعمل لك.
بدي أرجع أجيب ألعابي من أول جديد.
بجيب لك أحلى ألعاب.
Since the 7th of October 2023, on a daily basis, buildings in Gaza's residential areas have been taking hits by Israeli bombs and artillery. One reason for this is what is hidden below them. Over years, Hamas has dug a sophisticated tunnel network stretching hundreds of kilometers below the streets and buildings of the Gaza Strip. Entrance shafts are hidden among multi-story buildings, between sand dunes, or inside private homes.
الأنفاق مشغولة بطريقة مهندسين عقول مرتبة عملتها بأعماق مختلفة متداخلة ببعضها من الشمال إلى الجنوب ومن الشرق إلى الغرب. أما باقي الأنفاق لم يستطع القضاء عليها لأنه لا يعرف عنها شيئا. وهذا جزء من التحضير للعملية اللي إحنا كنا عم نحضر له من سنوات.
Israelis have nicknamed the tunnels the Gaza Metro. Hamza al-Hawidi has first-hand knowledge of the Gaza situation. He left the Strip in the summer of 2023 after Hamas tortured him for participating in public protests against its dictatorial rule. As a Gaza native, he's seen some tunnels himself.
The idea behind the tunnels in Gaza was applied even before the Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. The people who were working in these tunnels were, most of them were normal people, civilians who wanted to get the pay because Hamas were paying like $200 a day, so it was a big money for the Gazans. Everyone wanted to participate in it.
Hamas uses the tunnels to transport food, medicines, and weapons. The tunnels also allow Hamas leaders to move around safely. They're used for weapon storage and to launch missiles against Israeli targets. On the 13th of October, the Israeli army gives 24 hours notice to 1.1 million Gazans to evacuate the north. Within 2.5 weeks, almost 1 million Gazans will pack up and flee to the south. In Gaza City, journalist couple Shrouk Al-Aila and her husband Rojdi Sarraj are back from Mecca to cover events in Gaza for Arab and Western media organizations. They too receive the Israeli order to evacuate, announced via loudspeaker, leaflets, and text messages. The young couple will have none of it.
رفضنا جميعاً المغادرة. والد رشدي، والدته، إخوانه، رشدي، جميعنا رفضنا المغادرة. وأنه نحن أصحاب الأرض ومش لازم نتماشى مع أوامر الجيش، فقررنا عدم المغادرة.
Rojdi continues his work as a freelance journalist.
There is no safe place in Gaza at all. They still attack everything in Gaza. No water, no fuel, no electricity for the 11th day of the aggression.
Hala and her daughter have also decided to remain in the north of Gaza. They've taken shelter in Hala's old school, now a refugee camp for 600 people.
روتين قاتل وانت بتعيش في دائرة مغلقة وبتدور في نفس المكان. درست فيها الابتدائي، الإعدادي ومرحلة الثانوية كمان. صرت اليوم بنام فيها وبشتغل كل شغلي فيها. الحياة اختلفت معنا كلياً، لا أدعو للاستسلام ولا للهزيمة، بس تعايشنا.
Two weeks into the war, Shrouk is in her apartment and prepares breakfast for her family.
الساعة 11 رشدي زوجي كان عم بجهز نفسه لحتى يغادر للعمل. صار انفجار جدا قريب، انفجارين. فجأة كل شيء صار رمادي، كل شيء. فكنت عم دور على رشدي، بعد بشوي حسيت في تقل يعني عند رجلي. حاولت هيك أشوف فكان رجل. كان لساته عايش، عم بتنفس بشكل صعب، كان عم بيعمل gasping.
Sharuk manages to get hold of a car and rushes Rujdi to a nearby hospital.
كان عنده هون في فتحة في رأسه، هون تماماً تقريباً سنتي أو سنتي ونص. وضل رجلي في الطوارئ لأنه ما كان في مجال أصلاً إنه يفوت إلى العمليات، وإنه رجلي يعني استشهد.
Since the beginning of the war, Gaza's hospitals have been overwhelmed. Izzadin Lulu is a fifth-year medical student who suddenly finds himself working as a full-time doctor.
I have been volunteering at the Gaza hospitals since October 2023. I have experienced and lived things that no one can imagine. We work 24 hours per day with very little time for sleep. And we are doing the work supposed to be a professional and experienced doctor.
Dr. Hassan Al-Shire has been an anaesthetist in Gaza for over 21 years. He has also never seen anything like this before.
احنا رأينا أو قمنا ببتر أيدي وأرجل لأطفال لا تتجاوز أعمارهم 6 شهور. والله يا أخي والله أنا قمت بتخدير أطفال طفلة لا يتجاوز عمر الشهرين وتم بتر إيدها ورجلها. بصراحة هذه المناظر كانت المناظر الأسوأ اللي احنا شفناها في الحرب.
On the 27th of October, almost 3 weeks into the war, Israel sends ground troops into Gaza. The army pushes into the north, supported by helicopters, drones, tanks, and armored vehicles. Among them, Noy Lieb and his elite squad of soldiers.
We were the first reserve duty unit to go into Gaza, so no one was in front of us. We were on the front lines. You're only thinking about 2 things. Number 1 is to go and find the hostages, bring them back. And number 2 is to eliminate Hamas. Get rid of them. But we are going into a war zone with terrorists who hide in tunnels. They're not stupid. Hamas is very smart. We're going on their turf.
It is part of Hamas's tactics to hide amongst civilians and use them as human shields. Because Hamas rules with fear, most Gazans won't publicly criticize the regime. Now based in Germany, Hamza al-Hawidi feels at liberty to speak.
I think that the majority in the Gazans recognize the same fact that we are totally upset because Hamas is hiding amongst us. I can show you thousands of posts of Gazans talking about the same points, why they are hiding behind us.
Hamas will sometimes have their uniforms, but a lot of the times they'll dress up in civilian clothes. So it's hard to differentiate who's a civilian and who's a terrorist.
Noy's team is specially trained to operate in civilian spaces.
We had to sometimes wait to get shot at to understand where the terrorists are coming from. They wait for you, and it takes them maybe 10 seconds, even less, to come out from the tunnel, take an RPG, shoot it, and go back down, and already be on the other side of the tunnel.
The IDF would defeat Hamas like in 2 weeks if there was no tunnels and if they were not hiding behind the civilians. These tunnels are necessary for Hamas.
No army has really fought with tunnels. Yeah, you have a few wars where there were tunnels here and there, but not like this. So it's brand new. We would uncover new tunnels all the time, but you would uncover one tunnel and there'd be 5 more.
According to the Israeli army, Hamas have positioned themselves in and below hospitals, mosques, and schools.
Another day, another school that Hamas uses to conduct terror attacks out of.
We entered a class, and it was an English class. On the chalkboard, it said October 5th, 2023. And I just paused, and I'm like, do the students that were studying here on October 5th, do they know that their school was being used by terrorists to fight against the IDF?
On the 5th of October, nobody could have imagined the disaster that would befall the region 2 days later. Killing 1,200 people and taking more than 250 hostages, Hamas terrorists would unleash a devastating firestorm as Israel seeks to destroy Hamas in revenge. It now threatens to engulf the whole of Gaza, including the territory's hospitals. With almost 700 beds, the Al-Shifa hospital is the largest medical complex in Gaza. The Israeli army has information that a vast network of Hamas tunnels exists below the hospital. It's an open secret among Gazans that the Al-Shifa is used as a Hamas outpost.
My house in Gaza was close to Al-Shifa hospital. We knew for sure that Hamas was hiding in this hospital. This is their strategy because they know if they hide inside the hospital, Israel wouldn't be able to target the hospital itself because there would be high civilian casualties.
Despite this, the Israeli army encircles the hospital to flush out suspected Hamas terrorists. Yet inside the overcrowded Al-Shifa, there are around 1,500 patients and medical staff at the time, including medical student Izzadin Lulu and Dr. Hassan.
في الصباح استيقظنا وإذ نفاجأ إنه إحنا محاصرين من جميع الجهات بدبابات إسرائيلية ومجنزرات وجرافات وقناصين على العمارات المحيطة فينا. إحنا شفنا فتحات في العمارات المحيطة في المجمع من جميع الاتجاهات.
Despite the siege, Al-Shifa's medical staff try to treat patients around the clock.
It turned my life 180 degrees. For one whole week, there was no electricity, telecommunication, or Wi-Fi. And the snipers were targeting people in the halls of the hospital. In the meantime, the oxygen concentrators had started to shut down, and 8 patients in the ICU just died before my eyes.
The situation inside the hospital and the hospital compound is getting desperate.
ما يقارب من 200 جثة في مجمع الشفاء الطبي. أنا رأيت بعيني صراحة كلاب تأكل من هذه الجثث. نحن بعض الزملاء بفحر قبور في داخل المجمع ودفنا ما يقارب 80 جثة.
After a week-long siege, the Israeli army moves right inside the Al-Shifa hospital compound.
طردنا بالقوة يوم 18/11 تحت فوهات البنادق والدبابات الإسرائيلية التي كانت تحيط بمجمع الشفاء الطبي.
I am in the Shifa hospital. As you can see from the sign behind me, our troops opened this.
Inside the hospital, Israeli troops search for weapons.
This is what they found.
This footage was filmed by the Israeli army to prove to the world that Hamas uses hospitals to hide.
There are grenades in here, of course, uniformed, and all of this was hidden very conveniently, secretly behind the MRI machine.
The Israeli army says that they uncovered tunnels below, which are connected to surrounding buildings.
We had to remove the floor and understand these tunnel shovels. One direction goes to the Shifa hospital, other directions go to different location using the safe haven, the human shield of the hospital.
During his work at the besieged hospital, Izzadin receives shattering news.
At 9 o'clock at night, Dr. Fadl Naeem from Al Mamadani Hospital called me and told me we are sorry for the loss of your relatives as a target bomb attack on my home. At that time, the world fell on me. I couldn't believe what they were telling me.
A rocket has hit his family home with such force that it was impossible to rescue his loved ones from the rubble.
They heard cries for help from under the rubble from some of my family members and told me if they had equipments that were destroyed, I probably would have had at least a few surviving family members. My father, my uncles, my brothers, my nephews, my grandmother and my pregnant sister-in-law, they had gone to paradise.
Izzadin's mother is the only survivor of this tragedy. In view of the many civilian deaths in Gaza, international pressure is mounting on the Israeli government to stop the fighting. War crimes proceedings are about to begin at the International Criminal Court in The Hague, not just against the leaders of Hamas, but also against the Israeli Prime Minister.
They have active investigations ongoing in relation to the crimes allegedly committed in Israel on the 7th of October, and also in relation to Gaza and the West Bank, and our jurisdiction goes back to 2014.
The Israeli government takes a very different line.
מי שמעז להאשים את חיילינו בפשעי מלחמה הם אנושים חדורי צביעות ושקר, שאין בהם אפילו טיפת מוסר אחת. צה"ל הוא הצבא המוסרי ביותר בעולם.
On the 24th of November 2023, Hamas and Israel agree on a 4-day ceasefire. The focus of the ceasefire are the 250 people who were taken hostage in Israel on October the 7th. Benjamin Netanyahu's government is under intense pressure in Israel to bring the hostages back home. He releases 240 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails in exchange for 60 hostages held by Hamas. But the fighting soon continues, and the Israeli army advances in the north. But Hamas keeps attacking from its tunnels and continues to hide among the population. It has become a deadly game of cat and mouse, with bystanding civilians as casualties. To escape the war zone, many people have moved to so-called humanitarian safe zones in the south, including the recently widowed Shruk al-Aila and her daughter Dania.
كنت أفكر طفلتي التي فقدت والدها في هذه الحرب كيف ستتحمل فقدان أمها أيضاً.
Mother and daughter arrive in Rafah, which before the war had a population of 270,000 people. By December 2023, it has grown to over 1.4 million.
يعني أذكر عندما كنا في رفح كنا ننام 17 شخصاً في غرفة واحدة فوق بعض. الذهاب إلى الحمام مأساة، توفير المياه مأساة، توفير مياه الشرب مأساة أخرى، كذلك الأمر للنوم.
There is also an increasing shortage of food. Prices have skyrocketed inside Gaza, But with no paid employment, most people are unable to afford their daily rations.
يعني لا أذكر أن جاء وقت كانت به المواد التموينية ممتلئة في الأسواق وبسعر مناسب
In February 2024, there are warnings that Gaza faces a famine. One of those trying to get humanitarian aid supplies into the territory is aid charity founder Arwa Damon. Arwa visits Gaza in March 2024.
There's not enough food. There's not enough clean water. There's not enough bathrooms. There's not enough medication. And as you watch the faces coming towards you, you realize that it's almost as if you're staring at the walking dead.
For decades, Gaza has been dependent on international aid deliveries, which under Egyptian-Israeli agreements have to be checked at the Karem Shalom post before entering at the Rafah crossing. Most aid was distributed via the UN's relief agency, UNRWA, which Israel claims is infiltrated by Hamas. Israel has therefore increased its border controls, with aid trucks queuing for weeks before entering Gaza from Egypt, including trucks delivering aid for Arwa Damon's charity.
Israel says it allows X number of trucks. That's just the number that enters into the search. So of this number of trucks, X amount are not permitted in, for whatever reason. Then the trucks that actually cross in and go through the search need to get offloaded to Gazan trucks. Gaza only has 40 to 60 trucks available at any given time because of the lack of fuel, because of tires that have been blown out, because of engines that are breaking down, and because there's no way to get spare parts and to fix any of this.
Before the 7th of October, about 500 trucks used to enter Gaza on a daily basis. In March 2024, no more than 150 trucks entered daily via Rafah. The Israeli government says that there is no reliable partner in the distribution of aid in Gaza, and that aid is often hijacked by Hamas.
Everything is controlled by Hamas. When food comes inside, Hamas takes over and then sells it either in the black market, gives it to his own people. So I need to find people who will distribute. In order to be able to change the functioning of Gaza, you need to expel Hamas.
Of course, a certain portion of what comes in ends up with nefarious actors. Does this somehow mean that Hamas is stealing all of the aid? Absolutely not. And the repetition of that line over and over and over again is just, it's cruel.
Meanwhile, the death toll among Gazans is rising. Tens of thousands, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Behind the scenes, international efforts are being made to negotiate a ceasefire, but to no avail. The fight between Israel and Hamas continues.
The IDF was taking more control of the north. It was much more free. And I wasn't as worried about each step. I was still worried, don't get me wrong. Hamas was still there hiding, attacking us. But as we moved more south, the northern part of Gaza was more safe.
In May 2024, the International Criminal Court in The Hague issues arrest warrants for the leaders of Hamas and for Benjamin Netanyahu for committing war crimes. But the fighting continues. It now extends to the south, including the humanitarian safe zones that the people from northern Gaza were ordered to evacuate to.
Once the IDF issues the evacuation orders to the civilians, it does that publicly. And for sure, Hamas knows about these evacuation orders. so they can move with the civilians to the new place, and they continue hiding from one place to another, which makes it hard for both the civilians in Gaza and the IDF to fight against Hamas.
It's been 6 months since Shrouk settled near the safe zone of Rafah, near the Egyptian border. She's an English speaker and occasionally records her thoughts.
Today is 100 something. I don't actually remember what is it. And actually not interested in counting because it feels like it's useless.
Then on the 5th of May, Israel launches a major military offensive against Hamas in Rafah and orders civilians to leave the area.
So once again, getting siblings for the 5th time. Packing our stuff.
اللي جاي وصلوا.
Shrouk and her daughter moved to the city of Deir al-Bala in the center of Gaza. With no buildings available, she has to find a tent to live in.
للأسف ما كان في عنا خيارات إلا إنه نغادر. وهذه كانت أول مرة نجرب حياة الخيم. شكل الخيمة من برا شكله حلو وكامبينج وكيوت، بس لساعتين 3 فقط لا غير. مو لأنك تعيش فيها أشهر وأشهر. حرارة جدا عالية. الخيم بتخزن حرارة الشمس جوات الخيمة. فالأمر جدا صعب جدا يعني.
For the moment, Shrouk may be safe from bombardment. But in Gaza, this can change at any moment. Whenever possible, Shrouk continues to work as a freelance journalist. On the 8th of June, she's in a taxi and on her way to an assignment in the Nusayrat refugee camp, when war catches up with her again.
كل شيء انقلب في لحظة. بطلع من شباك السيارة شفت 4 طائرات هليكوبتر بتطخ رصاص تطير بمستوى منخفض. شعرت جدا بالخوف. المدفعيات كانت تطلق قذائف بشكل عشوائي وغير متوقع.
Shrouk has stumbled into a high-profile Israeli operation to rescue a group of hostages held by Hamas.
أما الطائرات الحربية طائرات F-16 وغيرهم كانوا عم بيطلقوا صواريخ أيضاً بشكل عشوائي. للحظة شعرت إنه من غير الصائب هو الاستمرار في هذه المهمة. تم قصف بصاروخ حربي المنزل الملاصق لنا. الركام ينزل على السيارة. كان شيء جدا مرعب. شعور جدا مؤذي.
During the Israeli operation, 4 hostages are rescued after 8 months of captivity. According to the Hamas-run health ministry, 270 Gazans are killed in the process. Yet Israel's government has little appetite for peace, so long as hostages remain in captivity and Hamas continues to operate in Gaza.
We're told that it's going to be long, not only by the politicians, by the army. Why is it going to be long? There's a logic for that. It's Gaza against terrorists. They don't respect not only the lives of my citizens, they don't respect the lives of their own. You've got the tunnels, terrorists, hostages.
القضاء على حماس، قتل المقاتلين، تدمير الأنفاق، إطلاق سراح الأسرى الإسرائيليين، القضاء على حكم حماس في غزة. لم يحقق لليوم بعد مرور 8 أشهر أي هدف من هذه الأهداف.
I don't like putting on uniform. I don't like holding a gun. I wish for the day that I can just walk peacefully and not have to worry about a potential threat around me. I wish. But You can't make peace with terrorists.
حياة النزوح جدا صعبة، جدا مرهقة. خسارة رشدي يعني خلينا أقول إنه أنا في مرحلة تخدر، كونه أنا في مكان ليس مكاني. لم يكن هناك مساحة كافية للحزن. The luxury of grieving is not an option. There is no time for grieving. كونه إنه أنت بتقضي يومك وأنت فقط بتحاول تعيش. بشعرك إنك أنت ما رح تكمل تعيش. حجار، هذا بيتنا. بعرف بيتنا لو كان بين مليون حجر وحجر، بيتنا هذا. أسوأ تجربة ممكن الإنسان يحياها في حياته يكون واقف قدام بيته المدمر. والله أحلام هالة قبل 7 أكتوبر كانت كتير. الآن حلمي خلص الحرب بس، وأعيش مرتاحة أنا وبنتي ومش خايفة من الموت.
By December 2024, the death toll in Gaza has reached over 45,000 people, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The majority of the dead are reportedly women and children. Almost 2 million Gazans are displaced. Over a year into the war, more than 100 Israeli hostages still remain in Gaza, their fate unknown.
Palestinians, the Israelis, we are both tired from this conflict. Talking about peace is a long way now, but I think what matters now is to stop the current war, at least, and release the hostages. Currently, the people in Gaza are totally desperate. They suffered enough, they have no hope, and they only want an opportunity to survive this.
Already, the Hamas raid on October the 7th, the ensuing hostage crisis, and the war in Gaza have fundamentally changed the political landscape of the Middle East. Whether regional warfare will be followed by a lasting peace or by a new round of violence, only the future can tell.